CW legends Jerry Lynn and Mikey Whipwreck. Now, let's welcome your host, Mike Freland.
How are you? Good evening, and welcome to another evening of Front Row Material Live. Also, Future Stars Now, with myself and my co-host, the Ritt. Once again, we are sitting in for the guys who are still away, but that doesn't mean we're not going to have fun. We're going to have a great show tonight. So many awesome guests we're going to be having, so let's go ahead and let's bring him in right now. My friend who's follically challenged, but yet still has the beard to say, watch out, kids. Don't take my candy. His name is the Ritt. What's going on, Rittster?
Hey, what's going on, Mr. Freland? How you doing?
Hey, you know what? If I was any better, I'd be a twin, my friend. I am feeling good. I'm feeling better than probably I'm looking, but I'm feeling good. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. I can't wait for this guest. I was just doing research on her, and
yes,
man, my favorite feud that she has been in, which we're going to talk about, was against somebody that you are pretty familiar with.
Ooh.
My good friend, Mr. Darius Carter.
Is that the guy who makes me call him Mr.?
I know him as Darius. You have to call him Mr. Carter still.
Why is that? Why can't I be on a first name basis?
You got to earn it.
I'm 40 years old, damn it. I'm an adult. I should be able to call him.
Apparently not. You got to earn that title.
I guess so. You know what? It's good to see you. Let's go ahead and let's get to the guest. The guest is the most important thing. You want to do the introduction?
Well, she is the current Pro Wrestling Magic champion. And I can't wait. She is an indie star to keep your eye on. And she is my pick to win the Women's Super 8 tournament this year.
The Super 8 tournament.
Erica Leigh. Let's bring her in.
Let's do it. Hello.
Honk, honk, honk. What's going on, fellas?
It is so good to see you. Thank you for carving out some time and coming on the show this evening.
Thank you for having me.
So, big things are happening with you, Miss Champion. I mean, my goodness, I was just going to say, not a whole lot of people can say that they are that, but that is what you are. How does it feel? How's it feel wrestling and having crowds back?
Feels great. It's me, a champion, Not a lot of people can say that with the accent too, and it feels great. Lot of studio or closed set tapings in the past year, but we're finally getting back to, live crowds, ticket sales. Very exciting. I've been super, super lucky to keep busy and to keep working throughout COVID. I would say I probably had the best COVID of anybody.
Wow.
I think that's fair to say. I don't think you could name anybody else who pushed themselves as, creatively to do different stuff or who try to get out there as much as I did. I had the best COVID, and I had COVID. So double best COVID for me.
I was going to say, you soldiered on.
I did. No sense of smell anymore, but what are you going to do? It's very helpful in the locker room.
I was going to say, sometimes that's not necessarily a bad thing.
It's pretty good for me. But yeah, now that we're moving back into sort of what we are more used to with live crowds and having people in the building, it's been amazing. Just filmed Paris is Bumping 2, Solid Gold, and that had a packed house. That crowd was red hot. It was so much fun, and it was everything that you miss about a live crowd. They were amazing, and I thank everyone who came out that night. They made the show just incredible. It was awesome being in front of people again.
Erica, let me ask you this question, and you probably get this asked 1.5 times, but were you big into wrestling before you got into the industry, or were you kind of like, kind of on the peripheral, and then what kind of tipped you off to say, you know what, I think this is for me?
Are you asking how I got my start?
Yeah, well, I mean, what kind of like sparked your interest? I mean, were you always kind of interested, or was it just kind of...
As a kid, no. I thought friggin' weirdos like wrestling. Well, like the only kids I knew that like wrestling were friggin' weird. Nobody in my family watched it. I just wasn't exposed to it.
Right.
And so it wasn't until I was an adult. I was actually on like third or fourth date with my now husband. And he was like, "Oh, it's Monday night. You get to watch Monday Night Raw with me and my roommates." And I was like, this is going to be real lame. I don't think this is going to work.
Wow.
But I liked the guy. And so I thought I would go into it with an open mind. And for whatever reason, like, you know, it hooked me. I fell in love with wrestling, with him. Haven't looked back on either. So what a cute little story. But as a kid, no, I was not into it at all. And I feel like that's definitely like a disadvantage sometimes when people are like, "Oh, do you remember when this happened and this happened and this happened?" And I'm like, I'm seeing everything for the first time in the past 5 years. But it's also an advantage sometimes because I don't have this like
preconceived notion of
what it has to be or what it should be or what I have to do or what people expect. Like, it's definitely a learning curve, and I try my best to catch up on everything, but I don't have the like nostalgia attached to certain things, so I can look back and be like, you know, maybe Eugene wasn't like a great creative choice, right? Which I don't think that anyone really argues for, but I don't have that like nostalgia block where I can be like, no, it was great and this was the golden era and nothing will ever be better than that. Like, I very much have my eyes towards the future and like how we can improve things and make things, if not better, just as good or just as entertaining or just as unique. And there's always something that you can push for, you know, next.
Well, one, I'm so glad that he followed the golden rule of don't bring up and watch wrestling till the third date, because, you know, that's
that. I mean, I'm surprised he actually like got another date. Wow, that's like one of those taboo things amongst wrestling fans that you don't tell the chick you're into that I want to watch. You don't do that.
So he, I think we might have been snowed in together, so it was already like too much too soon. You know what I mean? Like, we were all like, ooh, like, didn't plan on being with you for 2 days, but so that I don't remember if that was all in the same weekend or not, but it was definitely early. But yeah, no, it was a great time. It was actually Jerry Lawler that like piqued my interest as a commentator. It's the most bizarre like entry point that I could never predict. Like, now knowing more about wrestling, I'm like so baffled that this is what did it. But he like yelped or like shrieked or whatever, you know, like noise he made. And I was like, oh, it's funny. He's funny. He's a clown. Like, they're self-aware. I get it. So it was definitely that angle where I was like, oh, it's not all like, take me super seriously. I'm supposed to be scary and intimidating, which like some people are. And that's fine, but I'm definitely more of like clown, fall down, go boom sort of person. So that's more what speaks to me.
Okay, and the second question I had was, okay, once you went from Monday Night Raw, how did you get to, hey, maybe I want to try this?
I think it was like 1.5 years or maybe even 2 years of watching. And I was just like, you know, I think I could do this. Which, like,
this is awesome.
You know, really, I don't know who looks at wrestling and is just like, you know what? That looks pretty easy. Which, like, it doesn't look easy. It's not what I thought. I am making a joke. But I just thought, like, why not try it? Like, I was always like moving on the couch watching it and like trying to, like, you know, almost like being in it in my brain anyway. So I was like, I have to try it. I have to know at least if I can do the very basics, if I should, you know, if it's anything that I could realistically pursue. And I found somebody who was willing to take me with them to training. Thank you, Jordan Blade, my first training partner, opponent, tag partner, everything. She literally drove me my first day of training and has been a huge help to me ever since. But yeah, I like took my first couple bumps and was like, this is pretty odd. Everything about this situation is not where I saw my life going. But yeah, I just never looked back. I don't know. It just was like, not natural and not instinctual and not like some people are like, you know, everything fell into place and it was where I knew I had to be, and I've never felt more at home. And I was like wildly uncomfortable and like out of my skin and anxious and like super stressed out and like kind of awful. But it's so rewarding at the same time. Like it's the most stressful and most enjoyable thing I've ever done, all at the same time, always.
It's interesting how not only did he get you into wrestling, which is kudos to him, then he's now married to a professional wrestler. I mean, let's be honest here right now. If like we were in a Star Trek, like dating a Wookiee or whatever, I don't know what they're into, but like that's like the ultimate thing right there, to be involved in a relationship with somebody not only who likes something, but who's actually doing it.
Yeah, sure. I don't know. I'm on the other end of it, right? Like I am the wrestler. Yeah, I don't know. You'd have to ask him. Do you want me to get him down here?
So what was it like in the beginning? I mean, as far as after you got done with your training, and was it hard to start finding places to get booked? Or did you find that there were people that you could reach out to that said, hey, I would call this person or call that person? Or
no, it was super easy to get booked. I'm like an attractive woman in Central Virginia. You know, like they kind of came to me. What can I say? I think the hard part was just like saying no to bookings and being like, no, I'm like very much garbage still. Like need to train more. People definitely wanted. I hear that a lot too. Like people getting like pushed into opportunities a little bit too soon, or maybe getting you know pushed out the nest, and you're either ready or you're not, right? And I just knew that like I wasn't. So I worked locally for a little while, did a couple road trips, and was like, ooh, all right, let me stay closer to home. And then once I got injured super early on, was out for like 6-7 months, and when I came back, I was like, all right, I need to get the hell out of Virginia. So I moved to Philly and started training at Chikara. And that's when I think things really started taking off for me. And I was just working more. And that definitely led to like better connections, just being in a better region. Like there's just nothing in Virginia.
right.
Nothing. Like it's insane how much of a black hole it is here. And so being in Philly, being adjacent to New Jersey and New York and everything that's up there was super helpful in making contacts with people and getting book places and being able to like jump in cars and go 3 hours and hit like a great show versus 5-6 hours. It's just not as easy. There's not as many people from here going anywhere, so you can't just hop into cars in Virginia. But yeah, it's been an interesting ride, right? Like I started off answering the question, you know, was it hard to get booked? And I was like, no, I'm an attractive woman. But like that's so much of what it is. Like you see people booking hot girls just to put a hot girl on the poster, and like they don't care about the wrestling, and that's such a shame. It's like so frustrating to still be seen as like the you know special attraction act or whatever. Like I'm glad that we're seeing more shows that have more than one women's match, or you know, not just like a triple threat. But it definitely was like very frustrating to be like, okay, so like you don't expect literally anything from me. Great to know. But it made me push myself too. Like nobody else was going to push me. No one else was going to expect anything of me. So I had to expect it, and I had to push myself, and I had to go, you know, find people who were willing to teach me how to do things the right way instead of saying, that's good enough.
So women, like you said, a lot of guys just book the attractive woman, blah, blah, blah. But you got to make yourself stand out, you know? Yeah. When you came up with your character, your gimmick, and your ring attire, like, what was the thought process to, hey, I got to stand out, I got to be different than everybody else?
I think it goes back to that, like, nostalgia thing. I was just like, everybody loves to be nostalgic and to like think about, you know, the golden years of their childhood. So I was like, I'm going to prey on that. I'm going to capitalize on that and make the whole shtick the 90s, you know, Lisa Frank aesthetic, mixed animal prints, whatever. I'm going to prey on people's nostalgia and get over that way. Super
I like
effective.
that.
It was great. Yeah.
So who did you go to when it came to getting gear? Was there anybody who pointed you in a certain direction, like, hey, I would talk to these people? Or did you just kind of all put it together on your own?
Definitely not on my own. I can like patch tiny little holes. I can sew them up. But working with spandex is just like a whole other level of sorcery that I do not understand. So it was really hard at first because like the people that I was around had no idea where girls got gear. They were just like, oh, try this place. Nothing. You know, like it's not possible. Lucha has like 2 sets of like girls gear that you can get like ready made in your size or whatever. But other than that, it's like you're committing to a custom set no matter what. And in your first like couple months of working, like, oh boy, like how do you commit like the money and like the idea? Like you have to commit to your gimmick that early on because there's just nothing generic available to you. Like it's rough. So I was buying a lot of stuff from like dance websites and like cheerleading websites, and like putting those together when I was working my old gimmick that I was not very invested in. But once I started doing shows with more women on them, I was like, hey, where'd you get your gear? Hey, who made that for you? You look great. And so I got hooked up with Danny Gaucher, who has been making my gear ever since. And she's, like I said, a wizard. Like, I don't understand how people work with spandex. It's like the most frustrating thing on earth. But yeah, she designs and makes my gear for me. I have like a lot of input. I'll be like, I want it to look like this and this and this. And then she just casts a spell and makes it happen.
Who are some of the people that you've gotten a chance to work with so far that you felt that you've really connected with, that, you know, it almost felt like, wow, if I could work with this person all the time, this would just be the best? Is there anybody out there who stands out that you have on your Rolodex of, I want to keep working with these people?
Yeah, for sure. I got a question for Ritt. You got like a Looney Tunes sawing a hole in your ceiling or what, bud? What's going on over there?
Wow. Breaking the 4th dimension. No, that is my 2 kids coming downstairs. They're supposed to be upstairs in their room when I'm doing my podcast and making noise. But hey, I really appreciate you calling me out like that.
Hey, it's summer vacation, Ritt. You know, they're basically, it's free for all.
I was concerned. I was expecting a saw to come through your ceiling at any moment. You know, a little circle above your head.
Well, hey, I tried out for the new Space Jam movie. I just didn't. I didn't meet the height requirement.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. I got stuck with this guy though.
What? How did I get brought into this? I was just conducting a nice interview.
Hey, I got stuck working with you instead of being, you know, with Bugs and Daffy and all of them.
Yeah, no, I can see where you're a little frustrated. He did call you follically challenged, and I'm like, I wouldn't be the one throwing that stone.
Hey, I tell you what, my appliance is coming in the mail. We are getting all this covered. It is going to look good. I can swim in it, shower in it. I can do whatever I want. I'm going to whip out the slip and slide. I might have to put a shirt on. But besides that, I'm buying the fucking appliance. I'm not doing this shit.
Fuck yeah, dude. You know what? This is my gripe with men. I'll tell you right now. Y'all act like we don't have the technology to make yourselves look better. We do.
Yeah, we do.
We do. You know, like girls wear makeup. Why don't you try it out if you're not so happy? That's all I'm going to say about that.
This is fantastic.
I don't want to get down the rabbit hole over here.
It's life advice right now. I love it. Can you imagine Ritt with hair at this point? I mean, I don't know if I would even recognize you. No, real hair. Not. Oh, that's.
Oh.
Great. I'm waiting for Chris Hansen to walk on camera now at this point. Indeed.
Perfect. I'm so sorry. I've derailed everything. There was a question in there somewhere, right? Rolodex, working with people.
Yeah, who do you enjoy working with, or is there anybody that you've gotten a chance to work with that you're like, man, I would love to work with this person more often?
Yeah, I have a little list in my brain that I just came up with as you asked the question. I had a great match with Edith Surreal at the inaugural Cassandra Cup, and we've worked together again after that. But I love getting in the ring with her. Becca, we had a great match at WWR Plus. I'd love to run that back. Darius Carter, as you know him, Mike, Mr. Carter. You know, you really kicked the shit out of me. I don't know if you saw that. There's footage. There's pictures and photos.
I didn't see nothing.
Yeah, he kicked the lip off my friggin' mouth. I had to chew off a piece of my mouth on my drive home because it was just dangling there. But beat his ass, won that match. And we've had several after that, and I love getting in the ring with Darius. It makes me, raise my game a little bit more